Banjo and Kazooie are in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate! Yes! Okay, Nintendo's E3 presentation was awesome. I don't need any more. I'm satisfied. You can go ahead and shut down now, Baymax. And you can go ahead and turn off this video. That's all I really wanted to say. Bye! Okay, that's not all I wanted to say. I mean, technically, I was originally thinking of just making that a troll video, but then I realized there are too many of those, so I'm going to go in depth about a few of the other things I thought about in Nintendo's presentation. Not that there was that much that I personally was super excited about, but I figured, you know what, I'm pretty sure no one wants to watch a 17-second video about me just saying the only thing good about Nintendo's presentation was the fact that Banjo and Kazooie were announced for Smash. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the Direct was amazing from a design standpoint. From the fact that Bowser thinks that he's gonna make this grand appearance, but it's actually Doug Bowser, the new president of Nintendo of America. That was cool. The fact that Bowser wore a tie, I couldn't help but think of Donkey Kong in the back of my mind. That was very nicely done. I loved the computer animation. I thought that was really well done. I think Doug Bowser seems pretty cool. Only time will tell if he can replace Reggie, but in my personal opinion, I already like him a lot better than Reggie. Because the very first thing that comes out of his mouth is him basically saying, "We're here to tell you that the Nintendo Switch is appealing to all different playstyles," to which I said, thank goodness, because Xbox and PlayStation have been the antithesis of that ever since the PS1 and the Xbox original, because you can't say Xbox One anymore. That's just weird. I'm going to have to wrap my mind around that. So, I wrote down a couple of little bits and bobs of things that struck me in the Direct. Overall, I was kind of bored for the whole thing. Not because Nintendo did a bad job, but because I personally just didn't really care much about most of the titles. Animal Crossing New Horizons, that took me completely by surprise. You know, I think it's fair to say that most of us felt a little bit left down by Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer and then really left down by Amiibo Festival, so it looks like they're both returning to form and taking a new direction at the same time, which is what I've been saying ever since City Folk came out. That was way before New Leaf was announced. I said, you know what, Animal Crossing needs to just ditch the whole real-time element and make it so that you can stop and, like, not pick the game up for a month and the game's not going to punish you. Now, Nintendo didn't actually confirm if that was the case. If that is, I might actually consider buying it. As of now, it's probably only going to be a rental because, you know, it looked like there's a lot of debt that you have to pay off, and the whole game is on a tropical island paradise, so who knows, maybe you'll be able to escape the island? Ooh, this is totally off the record. Like, I didn't even plan this at all, but what if the fact that it's on an island is Nintendo acknowledging the only good thing that Amiibo Festival had to offer? That is an amazing way to poke fun of your past mistakes, Nintendo. I wish more companies would do that. So yeah, it looks okay. It's not wowing me yet, but considering that it was delayed until 2020 when they originally said 2019, there's probably going to be an Animal Crossing Direct somewhere along the line. So I'm just glad it got a title, and it seems like the word new has not outweighed its welcome, because New Leaf came out in 2013, so it's been a while. So Nintendo is not going overboard like with the new Super Mario Bros. Series. You know I'm, of course, stoked about Banjo and Kazooie, along with Spiral Mountain being the stage and a rocket remix of that first tutorial area. Their final Smash being the Gingernator was priceless, because, you know, that's how they... Oh, right, I'm not supposed to spoil Banjo-Kazooie for anyone that hasn't played that masterpiece. Please come to Switch, please come to Switch, please come to Switch, please come to Switch. Okay, and they opened the Nintendo Direct by teasing that they'd be making Breath of the Wild DLC, but it turned out they were actually just showing off the hero from Dragon Quest 11. Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. What a mouthful. That's going to be tough to market. That game looks amazing. They showed off the music, which was basically the only thing I cared about. And I like how the hero looks like it can be multiple different classes, but yet it's the same moves. I kind of felt like it was too similar to Link, But they did promise no Echo Fighters, so I'm hoping there's going to be enough differences. However, even though I am not a Dragon Quest fan by any means, I can say that the music they showed off was phenomenal. And from what I heard, even though it's going to be a multi-platform release, the Switch version of that Dragon Quest game with a ridiculously long name is the only one that has a full orchestra for its soundtrack, so I might pick it up for that alone, or at the very least rent it. But then it turns out Nintendo was trolling us, and they were making another Zelda game. Turns out it's a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, and it has the same Link and the same Zelda, and it looks like most of it's underground, although they hinted that it would probably take place in the same overworld, because they showed a scene from the Great Plateau looking out at Hyrule Castle. Now, this was something I originally wished that Nintendo had done with the Champions Ballad DLC for Breath of the Wild itself. So maybe Nintendo heard me, maybe they heard the rest of the community, and they said, you know what, guys? How about, instead of giving it to you as DLC, we make it an entire game? Still doesn't excuse the fact that they lied, but I'll forgive them slightly for that. They didn't show off too much of it, so I didn't really get an impression of what's going to make it awesome, but you know, we have another Zelda game to look forward to. Speaking of which, I did not put this on my notes. This is a total tangent, but I just remembered that they also announced a release date for Link's Awakening, which is nice. I thought it would be in June or July, so as of the time of this writing, it's early June, and I am so thankful I have time to get my finances sorted out by then. Nothing we didn't really already know, besides the music is going to be a lot better. The graphics, I've kind of sort of gotten used to them. Not a huge fan of the new chibi Link, but it could have been worse. It could have been way worse. I like how there's a chibi Link amiibo coming out, though its functionality was not discussed. Also, there's going to be an art book that comes with the Dreamer edition of the game. I don't think we've ever had a Zelda game that came with an art book, so that will be a nice touch. And the fact that you can create your own dungeons, that was interesting. Of course, I'm really, really awful at making at DIY games. That's why I've never picked up WarioWare DIY for the DS, but most of you didn't even know that existed. So we'll see how I feel about it. If they're like pre-made, create your own dungeons, then I'm sold. Because I loved that in Super Mario Maker, and I'm probably going to love it here. I haven't actually beaten the original Link's Awakening. I mean, my best friend basically spoiled the entire plot, but he keeps claiming that it's a great game. So maybe on the Switch, they'll fix a lot of the slow-paced issues of the original, and then it'll get me hooked. Especially if the music is fully orchestrated. That's always a nice plus. Fire Emblem Three Houses. Okay, you all know by now, I'm a die-hard Fire Emblem fan. I have owned or played every Fire Emblem game that's been released in North America, even the abominable Fire Emblem Heroes. So, of course, my hype for Three Houses is off the charts. However, I'm not going to lie, I think it was a little bit disappointing that they only showed off cinematics and not the actual gameplay, because it would have been nice to see like the practical benefit to having squad formations like they announced formerly. However, unless my ears were deceiving me, the voice actor that played Alm in Fire Emblem Echoes is returning as one of the characters, and Echoes is known by both me and a lot of the critics as having some of the best voice acting in video games. So if Three Houses goes the route of Echoes and decides that the entire game is going to be voice acted, and you got that guy playing one of the characters, this is going to be great. I'm not a huge fan of the anime art style for the cutscenes, but it looks like it's closer to what Radiant Dawn was trying to do. And there was even a scene where like there was an owl flying by, and I said, oh yeah, that kind of reminds me of Micaiah's bird. So maybe they did that on purpose for those of us that are actually loyal to the Tellius series, because those games exist, you know. It's just that they're so insanely priced. I think Nintendo wants us to forget about them, which is weird, because they're amazing games. Sure, they might not have blown anyone's minds on the sales charts, but sales charts aren't everything, because the GameCube was considered a failure at the time, but now people are begging for GameCube games to be on the Switch, so go figure. Super Mario Maker 2 got nothing but a passing mention in Nintendo's, here are some other games coming. Probably because they already showed us like everything there is to show with their Mario Maker Direct, and they probably were like, oops, I think we told a little too much information and didn't leave enough for E3, or the fact that it's only like a couple of weeks away. But I wasn't disappointed. Personally, it was nice for me to be like, oh yeah, June 28th, that's not too far away, cool. I am definitely looking forward to that game, but I am not looking forward to them trying to swindle me into paying an extra $10 for a free 12-month Nintendo Switch Online. Ooh, no thanks. At least they didn't mention anything. Not one single game in the Direct mentioned that Nintendo Switch Online was better than it seemed, which I was really thankful for. I was like, thank you, Nintendo. Thank you for not trying to make your service seem great when it isn't. Cadence of Hyrule was announced as being only 2 days away from release. That was amazing because it disappeared from the eShop shortly after its announcement, and I am so thankful that it is coming back not that long from now, and it's only $25, which is not bad. You know, most Switch games that have Zelda in it go for like $60. So the fact that it's a third of the price was insane. Also, it only took about 7 minutes to pre-purchase on the Switch, which was great as well. Because, you know, if you were to download Breath of the Wild off of the eShop, it would probably take more like an hour or two. And I'm looking forward to Cadence of Hyrule a lot, mostly because it's Zelda. I mean, I'm not the type that really likes trying new experiences, so if you had showed me Crypt of the Necrodancer, I probably would have been like, cool, but I really don't want to get swindled again. But hey, if it's Zelda, then I'm willing to give it a try. Oh, and Sans is Ness is the joke I'm trying to get across in this footage here, if I don't edit this out. I actually really liked MatPat's theory. Even though Toby said he was wrong, I liked the research he put into it, so I'm sticking to my guns into saying, you know what, MatPat, you may have been wrong, but I personally would like to think in an alternate universe that could be a possibility. Finally, the last one I have here is Astral Chain. I don't know how to explain why I like it, besides just it looks epic. And it doesn't seem like it needs much convincing because it feels like a nice action-heavy game that looks like it's going to be intuitive to control. Especially as I'm a huge fan of the lightsaber duels in Star Wars. If that has anything even close to that, I'm pretty sold. And that's all I have written down. I don't really have a whole lot of, how do I word this, major games that stood out to me as like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm drooling over them and I gotta go get them. But, you know, for what it was worth, it was a Direct that nearly put me to sleep, but thankfully the timing of Banjo and Kazooie couldn't have been handled better. The fact that it was mimicking the K. Rool reveal trailer, and the fact that they acknowledged that Duck Hunt was basically a cop-out for Banjo and Kazooie in Smash for 3DS and Wii U. I mean, it was Duck Hunt's silhouette that they saw, and then the real Banjo and Kazooie showed up to correct them. Of course, I knew what they were getting at the moment that the Jiggy rolled across the floor. In fact, I suspected it as soon as they showed Donkey Kong, K. Rool, and Diddy all in one house, because I was like, oh, that's Donkey Kong Country. That was made by Rare, and Banjo and Kazooie were made by Rare. And Nintendo seemed to acknowledge that because the catchphrase is Banjo and Kazooie are rare into Smash. You know, it's a play on words of rare. So this could signal a new era of Nintendo, and I can't wait to see what Arlo has to say about this. If he says something like, "This is huge, Nintendo. You are taking a character that's basically been a dead character ever since the days of Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. Oh, we don't talk about that. We're gonna get a smorgasbord of bear and bird scrumptiousness." Oh my gosh. I gotta go watch that video right now as soon as I'm done editing this. Okay. Enough Banjo-Kazooie fanboyism. Hope you guys enjoyed my Banjo and Kazooie excitement video. I mean, everything else I did was okay, but personally, if I were you and I were watching this, I'd stick around for Banjo and nothing else. So if you decide to leave a dislike, only watched the movie for about 40 seconds, I personally don't care. I'm too excited for Smash Brothers, so guess what? You're getting a YouTuber that's actually putting down his own video because he's so excited for Banjo. If anyone else is excited for Banjo, leave a comment. Let me know, like, were you as hyped for the Bear and Bird as I was? And what spirits would you like to see if they do a Banjo Spirits board? And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless. And if you have any requests for video game reviews, please make sure they have a physical release, because I am not doing eShop trash anymore unless it's free to play. Bye-bye!